back to Buds N Brews. Today is going to be a little bit of a different show. We have a dog in the studio, a Boston Terrier by the name of Rosa. But first off, the brew today is going to be Golden Frau, their honey wheat. This brew is out of Kearney, Nebraska. It's made with Chandler Sandhill honey and white flower clover honey. It's also their best seller from the Thunderhead Brewing Company. With me today is my really good friend, Adam. Adam, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Just normal North Platte, born and raised.
Born and raised North Platte, the good old NP.
Yeah, not much to it.
Why don't you pop open your beer there, buddy?
Yes, sir.
It's kind of an interesting can. It almost looks like a comic card from like the 1700s.
Yeah, like every picture you've seen when you're in middle school.
Right. So this is going to have a 7.5% alcohol by volume. It'll be their American Pale Wheat beer, brewed by Trevor Shaman. So cool. Let's give this a... Oh, what does that taste like to you? Oh, it's real mellow. I like the mellowness of it.
Really tastes like eating bread.
Kinda, yeah.
Like
I'm not sure if I taste the honey so much, but I can definitely taste the wheat in it.
Definitely,
almost,
yeah. It's like
Golden Frau.
You could probably make that with your breakfast every morning.
You could, yeah. I mean, it specifically says you're supposed to serve it super chilled.
You're trying to have that 8 o'clock morning beer. That's the one.
Yeah, there you go, man. There you go. So where do you work at, man? What do you do? What have you been doing up these days?
Just Masonite, work days. Went from nights to days, which is a heck of a difference in working nights.
They make doors and stuff,
yeah.
Right? Just interior doors?
Yeah, just interior doors. We make some fire doors for like schools and like children's hospitals and stuff like that, but
I'm gonna be honest, man. For the longest time, I thought you guys made overhead doors for like garages.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, definitely not. Nothing like that.
No. Yeah, this is such an easy drinking beer. I talk about drinkability a lot on this show, and I could drink this all weekend. This is definitely one of them party beers.
Oh, definitely be a weekend beer, yeah, for sure.
Definitely a party beer. So I know that you like to dabble in some hydro dipping every now and then.
Yes, sir.
What have you done with that?
I've done about everything from the back of cars to, like my brother's GameCube controllers.
Oh, right on.
My Nintendo 64 controllers from back in the 90s. PlayStation 2 controllers.
So you gotta take those apart. I mean, do you have any special tools you need to take those controllers apart?
Not well. The GameCube one, they have a special little tool we had to borrow from one of my brother's friends. But other than that, Nintendo 64, just a small screwdriver pops them right out.
Huh.
And it's really just take pictures of what you're taking apart before you take it apart, and then go back and watch it all in reverse, and it goes right back together.
Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a great idea. I like to do that when I'm rebuilding an engine.
Oh yeah, hands down.
I also like to have just a camera set up, just recording me the whole time.
Oh yeah.
Because you never know, man. There's always good God, you can forget a washer sometimes and just fucks up everything.
You say on a motor, it's what, 3,200 of an inch that you can mess up on. They can throw the whole motor apart.
Wow, yeah, that's an incredible tolerance.
Yeah.
3,200ths of an inch. It's pretty tiny. So
yeah.
So you like to work on cars a lot then?
Yeah.
What kind of car do you got?
I got a 2000 Camaro Z28, which hopefully after this weekend won't be here no more, which is sad.
Oh man, is it the auto or manual?
It's not that. It's just that I want another Trans Am.
You can't beat the look of that Trans Am, man. It's just so sexy.
The Ram Air hoods are fire, but my favorite part is the ass end. It's the honeycomb tail lights, and it's the big back wing.
Yeah, and I'm not a big fan of the big back wings, but it just works with the Trans Am.
Oh yeah, the body lines are insane. So it's crazy to me. I don't know. I've owned 2 Camaros now, 4th gen Camaros, and I've owned 2 4th gen TAs, and both were 96. One was the WS6 6-speed car. The other one was an automatic. But one had the 98 to 2002 front LS1 clip, and I love that body style so much more. Camaros look good, don't get me wrong.
They do look good, but man, that Pontiac's got it beaten looks by far. I mean, like what?
It is, and I think that's why they went on to take the new Camaro and make it into a TA. Because you can get a brand new Camaro take it out to a shop down in Florida, I believe, and then
they make the whole Firebird.
And they change them into T-top cars, which is not an option on the new Camaros.
Which is incredible, because I'm sure that takes a lot of fabrication.
Oh, yeah. And you got to think, from the time Camaros were around, from the early 70s when T-tops came out, I mean, all of them, you know, 3rd gens, 4th gens. It's hard to find a 4th gen that's not T-topped. The hard-top Camaros go for a lot more money just because of the rarity of them.
I had an 83, 84, 85. It was a V6 Camaro.
Yeah,
but it had the T-tops, man. I love just cruising around with the T-tops.
Hey, my first car was an 85 Camaro. It was a hard top
V6
car.
Dude, you still felt fast in it, man. I don't care what anybody says. You still felt fast in it.
I thought I was the coolest kid beating Cavaliers and Neons.
Yeah, man.
But that was about it.
So your car is an LS or LT?
LS.
So what are some of the differences between an LS and an LT?
The main one is the LSs are a coil pack system, and of course all the LT1 guys out there, they know the OptiSpark system is garbage. One, it's hidden behind your water pump and all your main stuff. Two, any little bit of water or anything that gets down to it can fry it.
Just fries it.
Don't. And normally after about 110,000 miles on all this car, you have to replace them, but that's taking off the whole front assembly line to just change the OptiSpark system, and it's garbage.
It's just garbage, huh?
Yeah. They even make an MSD system where it changes your OptiSpark system over to a coil pack system.
And some of the benefits with an MSD is the whole multi-spark discharge, right?
Right.
And that's beneficial just to get a cleaner, more even burn in the cylinder, right? Okay. Also, don't LSs have like a different block?
Well, LS are actually, they say they're 5.7, but they're actually 348 cubic inches, which is dumb. But at the same time, they're also aluminum blocks, and they're their first aluminum block since 1967 through 1969.
It's almost kind of like the 5.7 liter in a GM and a 5.7 liter for a Hemi.
Right.
The Hemis are 345, and the GMs are 350.
Yeah. Except for the LS, like I said, they're 348, but they just rounded up to 350 because from the end of time, from the early 50s, or not 50s, but 60s, a 350 was 350 cubic inches.
Right.
But as they got into the aluminum block system stuff, they kind of switched it over.
You know, back when I was real ignorant in like grade school, I thought the 350 and like the 454 stood for how much horsepower they have.
Oh yeah, no. You know how many kids I got a 350 in my old Chevy pickup. It's got 350 horse and 400 pounds of torque, and I'm like, no, you don't.
I had a buddy who told me his 454 had 454 horsepower. I was like, are you just saying that because it's a 454? Doesn't that what it means? It's like, no.
Right. The worst thing about that is it probably only pushed like a solid 250 horsepower. Because the 305s and the Camaros in the 80s when they were going through that whole gas crisis, so they couldn't put 350s in their stuff until, of course, the late 80s when they came back out with the IROCs and stuff like that. It was... Those 305s were garbage.
They're the most garbage GM engine I feel like they've ever made.
They're horrible. I mean, still to this day, if you take one of those and you put it up to a 4-cylinder Dodge Neon, which I know, can blast one of those out of the water.
No kidding.
It is bad. Yeah, no. So it's not a good. It's not really good for Chevy, but then at the same time, the 80s are a lot different than the 2000s. You know.
God, if you read into the 80s, it was just not good for cars, man.
It wasn't.
Performance-wise. Even the Corvettes, they were barely making 200 horsepower.
Dude, yeah, the Corvettes were garbage. And then they tried to do that cool electronic system, and they just the tune port injection motor, which is one of the worst motors ever, to me anyways. They're garbage. Yeah. But when the government came in, that's when cars got ruined. Because if you look from 1970 to 1973, the Camaro was fire looking. They had the splint bumper Camaros, and of course 1970, 1973, those are the more rare, more sought after Camaros. Because then 1974 came in, the government said, hey, you have to have a solid front bumper, and of course back then you always had to have a single or a circle headlight. You couldn't have squares because they thought circle gave you more clearance down the road, which is
wow. I didn't even know that. I've never heard that before.
Yeah, which is completely not true. You can have a square light or a rectangle light.
Matter,
no.
Yeah.
It's
photon's a photon. It don't matter.
Right. You got to think. In 1970, the quality of lights they had compared to those new halogen lights we have today, some of those cars, you're driving down the road and their LED lights are right in your eyes, and you're like, dude, turn your brights off, and then
No
you
kidding.
flash them. Yeah, and then
that's what my car's like. And I kind of feel bad, but it's like it's fun. It's nice to be on the other side.
I know, because a few times me and you left work together, your car was behind me, and it was so bright. I was like, does he have his brights on at 4 a.m? I was like,
that's not the day we raced, was it? Was it the night we raced?
yeah, that was the night. Yeah, the night you were following me out to go out and run them.
Oh, that's cool.
Or no, yeah, because you and Travis went to race.
Right.
Yeah.
In his 540 BMW.
Yeah, it's all blown up and torn apart now.
Is it really?
Yeah, and then he has like 5 other vehicles.
Oh,
he just
of course.
Yeah.
I love that kid.
I know. He has a problem with buying junk cars and saying he's gonna fix every single one of them.
Dude, I think we've all been there at some point. If you like cars and you're into performance, I think we've all been there at some point.
Oh yeah, you always want the next.
Yeah, it's not a bad hobby though.
No, yeah.
I mean,
keeps you out of doing drugs for
yeah,
sure.
no
I
kidding.
mean, and I mean, like I said, after my whole track experience, it's more addicting than almost any drug out there. I would say, like my brother, like when he fights and he's talked about his fights, like getting punched in the face, you wouldn't think would be fun, but it's the adrenaline and it's the quality of it.
Well, and you've been in a bunch of fights. I've been in a bunch of fights. You don't feel yourself get hit when you're
not really.
It's like when you're hunting and you got that 12 gauge and you see that pheasant and you.
Oh yeah.
You don't feel that kick.
No way. Yeah.
Man.
No.
Or even when you're diving for a pass in football, you don't feel the ground.
No, and then that next morning you wake up, you're like, oh, my body hurts. Yeah.
But you can't just go outside and just go jump and land on the ground with your body.
No, yeah.
No, like
there has to be
hurt,
a point
man.
to it. Yeah.
Like that's gonna hurt. You're gonna feel that. You're gonna
100%. Yeah.
the rest of the night, right? So, yeah, the adrenaline is just plays a good point.
It is the most addictive drug out there. I'm telling you.
In your interests. So we're gonna go into our next brew from it's called Next Coast IPA. It is their Indian Pale Ale from Goose Island Beer Company. It is gonna be a 7%. Founded by John Hall in 1980. Hi, Rosa. And in 1995, he opened a larger brewery with a bottling plant. And then in 1999, expanded again, but sold it to Anheuser-Busch in 2011. So that's kind of a bummer. Anyway, I'll pop these open. Kind of a real basic label. I'm not a big fan of the label. Just a white label with like some like rainbow colors.
It kind of reminds me of kind of like Grey Goose, their bottles for vodka.
Maybe that's kind of where they got it.
Right, like.
Cheers, buddy.
Yeah.
It smells almost like what fruit cocktail smells like
that
when you pop open the can.
I'm telling you right now, that is the nastiest tasting beer I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that one.
No.
That's got some bitterness to it. It's supposed to be a little sweet, but I'm not tasting. Well, I don't know. A little lightly sweet on the back end on that aftertaste, but
that was pretty brutal.
It's a very, very clear beer. Not much of a head. No. Not experiencing a whole lot of it.
Man, that almost
a whole lot of them.
That's almost worse than Old Milwaukee.
Yeah, dude. I'm liking it more and more every time I drink it, but it's definitely not something I would choose to drink. Or if I saw it at a party, I'm like, yeah, go give me one of those Next Coast IPA.
Definitely would not. I mean, back when I used to drink, I would not. I don't think that would have been one that I would have. I was into really dark brewed beers, you know, like Budweiser stuff, some of that darker stuff they have, like that Dark Crown or whatever it's called.
They gotta have
black, or it's called Budweiser Black Crown. It's like a real like dark beer.
It's like an amber ale from somebody that I used to drink a lot, and I really liked it. And it was pretty dark, but I could really only drink like 2 or 3.
Right. See, my thing was
they started to get too heavy.
Right. Well, you get a 6-pack in, man, you feel great.
Do you?
Oh yeah. When I used to drink, I had a tolerance, and like 10 in, I'd be feeling pretty good. But my problem is I'm Irish, and you know, Irish they drink one, they want the whole kitchen.
You're right. You got
you bring $100 to the bar and you spend it quick.
So tell me a little bit about your fight history. Your brother, he runs a gym in town here, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm wearing a hoodie. It's 6'9" one-on-one MMA and fitness. He was out of the place in North Platte called Top Tier. They went through some misunderstandings, and he decided to branch off and start his own gym. Which this is when he was just an amateur. I mean, his amateur record, I believe, was 9-4. So he went pro shortly, or maybe he went pro right after he left their gym, or maybe before while he was at their gym. Either way, he went pro. He won his first pro fight, and then that first win took him on to 10 wins.
How excited were you when he won his first fight? Were you there?
His first fight, well, we can go back in the day. So this was right after high school. He had gotten into these weird backyard fights at some trailer park.
Ooh, like a little Kimbo Slice.
Oh, dude, it was horrible, man. And they had a fake belt. The guy said he was the champion of, but everybody was so into it. We're like, oh man, this dude's like solid, whatever. And my brother fought some Michael kid, I believe, and this dude was tall and lengthy. They both looked the same, you know. And my brother hadn't had much experience besides, I believe, what he learned off the internet.
Yeah.
And playing UFC 2010.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
I know some people like that. I know UFC. Oh, really, man? You know Ultimate Fighting Championship?
Oh,
like, what is that?
Oh, I know. And that's one of the things, like, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people, like, tell me, oh, hey, yeah, I did some UFC training. No, you did MMA training. Like, that's... UFC is the brand. Right. It's kind of like if you said, hey, I did some wrestling experience, now you can be talking about like WWF type wrestling or whatever, or did you do like high school wrestling stuff, you know? Like
it's a whole different breed, man. People could say that, yeah, I trained boxing in college. I mean, I did a little bit of that in college, but it ain't nothing compared.
Right, but you know the number one thing that you've heard everybody say, oh, I have a buddy who's a Golden Glove boxer or whatever. Dude, that's been thrown around so many times. Like those guys are supposed to be the king of fighting, and really like half these people that say that don't know no one that's ever done that.
Like, yeah, you know how to fight with rules,
right?
You know,
like,
with some really big padded gloves on,
right? Yeah.
If you haven't seen an MMA fight, then you just don't know what we're talking about. I mean, they barely wear any gloves. I mean, how many ounces? 6 ounces? I
believe, either 6 or 8. I want to say. I know, like there's 4-ounce training gloves. Yeah,
there's nothing.
And pride fighting used to be crazy. Those guys were doing like illegal shots, like elbows to the back of the heads, but like it was normal fight. There's even a thing still going on right now. It's called bare knuckle fighting. You know, have you ever seen the?
I think I watched the video the other day.
Dude, those guys are, and that's basically what Kimbo Slicer, Street Jesus, Jorge Masvidal did. Like some straight, like they don't wrap their hands or nothing. They go in there and they're just throwing solid punches and kicks at each other. Like, and it's bad enough that in MMA, like if you're fighting for the UFC or you're fighting for whoever, your feet aren't really they got a small wrap around your ankle, you know, and that's so whatever, they don't break or whatever, but you're getting a solid head kick. And now from a person who's taking light body kicks from my brother, I know how bad that hurts. Now I'm not gonna let my brother do a full one on me. I'm not done.
No, man, that hurts, dude.
No way. You're trying to put
getting
to sleep.
Kicked by someone who actually knows proper form on how to kick, that's brutal, man.
Dude, you break bones that way.
Getting punched is one thing. Getting kicked is a whole different.
Oh yeah, because you're putting so much more motivation or momentum. Yeah,
so much more momentum and inertia. Yeah. I mean, good Lord, especially if you got a real heavy leg.
Oh
good
yeah,
God, man.
100%.
Have you ever seen Joe Rogan kick? Oh, geez.
Dude, that guy. Well, he also has that video where he shows you the difference between force and power.
Yeah.
Like force is what moves the bag or whatever, and then power is like what you feel or whatever.
It's kind of a lot like horsepower and torque.
Right, yeah.
Like
torque pushes the wall.
Yes.
Yeah.
Horsepower is how fast you hit it, and torque's how long or how long
far you push it.
Yeah, you take it with you, bring it with you.
Yeah.
So, I like your dog, man. Yeah. She's so cute.
She's so wild.
She's a little bigger than a normal Boston Terrier, isn't she?
No. I just think she's really skinny. My other Boston, which is Rosa as well, I got her. She hated people. Like, if she was in here right now, she wouldn't let you touch her. Only way you could ever touch that dog is if we were in a car. That was her happy place. We were driving with the window down, her head was out the window. I mean, it could be -5 degrees out, and she wanted her head right out the window.
That's crazy.
Like, yeah.
And
no. I still have pictures on my phone of, I turn the little heater on.
Yeah.
When I'm cold and I'm playing video games with my son, and she'll chill right in front of the heater, blocking us from the heat. Like, you have that fur coat for what reason?
Right.
Like, or if I let her outside in the snow, she will not go to the bathroom anywhere in the snow. She'll go right on the concrete.
Really?
She goes, nope, I'm not going in that cold. I'm not going in that cold white stuff. I'm out.
No, I'm good. That's so funny, man.
It is, but at the same time, it's like, it's annoying because, you know, you go out to let her in the backyard and you think, you know, like, go do your doggy things, and then she's like, Nope, not today.
Dude, and they have little man syndrome too. Like they just think they're the size of a wolf.
Oh.
I used to work at an animal shelter for I don't know, about a year or so, and I fostered a bunch of dogs, and one of them was a pit bull Boston Terrier mix. Oh my god, dude! Like when she came in, I fell in love with this dog.
Right.
Cause like what? It's a what?
It's a what? Yeah.
What? So I took her home for I think what was it 5 weeks, and I had 4 other dogs with me at the time, and I had a big pit bull, a big German Shepherd lab, another big lab, and then a border collie, Australian Shepherd mix. So super smart and with a bunch of brutes, right?
Right.
And she thought that she was just gonna run the show, man. Like she was a little bit smaller than your dog, actually.
Right.
But she had that pit bull mentality coupled with Boston Terrier mentality.
Oh, yeah.
Good lord, she picked on those dogs so much. And I was like, I'm gonna come home one day and she's gonna be murdered. There's gonna be blood everywhere. They're gonna have her eaten. But no, dude, she was a big bully.
Right.
Bullying them.
The good thing about her is, like, you can come to my house and knock on the door for an hour, and she won't bark at all.
Oh man.
Like, when she was a puppy, I just instilled that. Like my old dog, she would bark at a leaf falling off the tree that she heard at 3 a.m, and it was just annoying. And it's like, so when I got her, and the other thing with her, I worked with my other dog. Did not like other dogs. She didn't want to be around other dogs. She didn't want to be near them. She is friendly to everything on 4 legs. She tries to make my mom's little, what are those called? Wiener dogs. Little
dachshunds.
Dachshunds.
You know, those are the number one most violent dog, aggressive dog, as far as like in terms of bites.
Really?
Dachshund, the dachshund of all dogs.
I mean, I just say every time you knock on the door, they're the first to start barking.
That's what I hate about dogs, though, is with the whole barking at the door. Like, we already know, we hear that. You're not alerting me to anything I don't know already.
Yeah,
like,
she'll
what are you
sit there,
trying to do?
and you can bang on my door for an hour, and she'll just be like, is someone here? Like, should we go check on that door real quick? Like, there was a few times, like I said, my brother, back last Christmas, he knocked on the door for like 5-10 minutes. I woke up, walked out to the living room, and looked on my camera system, because I got that camera system.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's my brother. So I opened the door, and then the first thing he said was, you know, if your dog would have barked, it would have woke you up. And I was like, well, that's not what happens.
Do you really want her to bark, though? Like,
well, I was working night shift, so, you know, when I'm asleep, it's, you know, day out. So, I mean, I didn't really want a dog that barked.
How nice is it to not be on night shift anymore?
It's really not different than days, or than nights, really. Days is not different. It's really not. I thought I would have this huge social life, and I would go out and do all this stuff, and I don't.
Isn't it easier, though, with your boy?
That's the only positive to it, is Fridays when I get off work at 4:30, or like the last 2 Fridays, they say, you remember us on Fridays, hey, hit 4,000 doors, split.
Yeah.
Go ahead and leave. We're like, oh, okay. So, you know, last 2 Fridays we were out, and nights have been, man, all those guys there, they laughed at me when I said, what are you going to do when I leave and you guys don't have no one to make numbers for you? And,
yeah, what happened with that?
Oh, I left, bro, and it took them a month of us getting guys in there left and right, for them training them before they hit 41. They hit 41 2 days in a row, which was last week. And since they hit those 241 days, they haven't hit over 38 cents. And like last night, they only hit like 33, 28. Like I look at their numbers every morning, I'm like, are you kidding me? Like they're not running, like they're running all 4 lines and still can't break it. Each line is having a problem breaking over 1,000.
Wow.
And it's like line 2 and line 3 should have no problem. You know, and now that I'm on days, remember when days, they were always like, oh man, they were never making the numbers. Right, you know, they'd hit 38, 30. Since I've been on days, there's only been maybe 1 or 2 days that we haven't broke over 4,000. Like last Friday, we had hit 4,356 doors by 3 o'clock.
You think a lot of that's to do with you? I mean, I'm sure it is.
Well, I want to say, well, you know, when I'm on a line, like, I always tell people, like,
you motivate everybody else to get going too.
Well,
I mean, it's like you're the driving force of that line. Right. That's why you guys would make 1,500 doors almost every night.
Right. Yeah.
Because you got everybody else in the mood to want to get going too. But if you don't have the type of leadership to get going, no one's ever gonna start.
And that's the biggest thing is people think you can't talk and make those numbers. That's so wrong. The thing with me is I don't like really talking about myself. Like, it's cool. People say, so what about your car? What about your truck? Blah blah whatever. I'm not about that, because I know one thing that everybody learned growing up: if you get someone else's interest out there, you can go on for hours and hours and hours. And most people, if you talk to them about something they like or something they have, you can keep them going on that for as long as you do. So the thing is I would talk to everyone on the line and ask them, oh, hey, how's your kid? Or, hey, what are you doing this weekend? Or blah, blah, or ask them about certain things. And I know that if I ask them that question, they'll talk forever about it. And even though it's annoying to me, I'm like, oh, shut up. At the same time, they're talking. So while they're talking, they're forgetting that they're working. And not only that they're working, but they're working fast.
Yeah.
So they're working fast and moving fast. And I'm like, yeah. And yes, I'm hearing most of it, but at the same time, I'm really just paying attention to what I'm doing. Yeah. Because I'm trying to build doors.
When you kind of get into that autopilot mode too, where you just you don't even think what you're doing, you just do it. You just do it. You get in that zone. And
I'll even bring in other people into our conversations. Like, I mean, the press guys, I'd always bring them over here. I'd be like, look at the numbers. How are you feeling? Dude. And they're like, oh, man, I'm running around all day, blah, blah, doing this, blah, blah. But at the same time, with them, with that few seconds they have to talk, that keeps everyone else on the line motivated and keeps going. And then it just...
you feel included when you're in the conversation, especially when there's two lines talking back and forth, and you're spouting off some stuff, and sometimes it's trash talking, like kind-hearted, and a lot of, it is a lot of the time.
Oh yeah, well that's the thing
you feel included, like you feel like you're actually there for a reason, and you feel like
if you get line
camaraderie, friendship.
Right, if you get line 1 and line 2 going at it, they're both going back and forth at it, right?
Right, and they're competing.
Well, now they're not only are they having full conversations, but they're going at the same speed together, which is now making numbers.
Right.
And like I said, I always tell people, don't, like, everyone's like, oh, but the bosses want those numbers, blah, blah, so why should I care? I'm just here for a paycheck. Don't look at it that way. I don't want it to be that way. I want to look at it, when I come in every day to work, after the first 3 hours of work, I set a goal. I say, okay, hey, we're at 400 doors. So if you take that 400 doors and you knock it off a normal day, I like to say, well, I can take that 400 doors and add 1,000 to it. That's 1,400 doors. Right. So then, if I do that for myself every day, I feel good about myself. But then, if I'm feeling good about myself, like, I just made 1,450 something doors, I feel great about myself. Well, then the boss, you're gonna notice, like, hey, this guy just busted out a bunch of doors. They all look good. Maybe 1 or 2 rejects, whatever, blah, blah. But at the same time, they're gonna come back, hey, good job today. Right. And even though I've been telling myself I've been doing a good job all day, now I got the big guys up top looking down at me like, hey, you did a great job. Hey, thanks for doing what you did today. And
it's like, that positive reinforcement that you don't necessarily go and seek, but it is nice to get it in return. It's nice to be told, hey, good job. Like,
and like I said,
sometimes
even if they don't give you that positive vibe, like if they're like, if you walk by them and they don't say nothing, even though you just made 1,400 doors, at least you go home knowing that you busted your ass all day. You did a good job, and you can feel good about yourself. You don't need no one else to feel good about yourself, because everyone knows it's a cold world out there. No one's gonna help you move up.
No, exactly.
But at the same time, if you can feel happy about yourself, then other people will start feeling.
Well, and on the other side of the coin too, if you set the goal and you don't make it, and you get kind of upset, there's nothing wrong with getting upset you didn't make the goal.
Right.
That's
at least you tried.
Portraying emotion over your job.
Right.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's better than going in there, clocking in, going to autopilot, and clocking out.
Right, yeah.
You just wasted 10 hours on a meaningless day.
Right.
Why not try to make that 10 hours into something you're proud of when you go home?
Right, exactly.
So try to do the best you can. That's what I tried to do there when I was working there. I tried to...
Or like when you see someone outside of work that doesn't work there, and you know that meaningless conversation everybody has, and everybody in the world has it. Oh, hey, how was work this week? It's all right. Just another week in the books, whatever. Or another day in the office is what the saying is, right? Don't be that person.
Because what is that life? Every week, that's the same thing. Like that's what you report back every week.
Yeah, because then you know that every week's gonna be.
Why would you? What kind of life is that?
Right, 100%. So that's the thing is, instead of being that guy that's like, oh yeah, there's another week in the office, where be that guy like, oh no, this week we did this, and this, and like, oh, that's really good. So you really like your job? Yeah, I do. Even though you might not, you might have. There's always negativities in jobs where like some positions are like, oh, I hate, it's not the best position. Well, find the position that makes you happy, or find something that makes you motivated to go to that job every day. And like I said, then instead of talking down your job at the end of the week, talk it up. Because then if you can talk it up,
it makes you feel like you're actually doing something worthwhile. Right. No one wants to go to work and do something they hate doing.
Right.
No one likes to do that.
Right. And
But
see,
if you can kind of trick your brain into thinking, oh, a bark.
Wow.
Trick your brain into thinking, oh shit, I lost my train of thought.
Right. She's never done that, like I said.
You got my attention. You alerted us. There's a threat.
Right. She's like, I've never been in this place before.
Oh, there must be someone here home.
Yeah, she hears the noises going up and down the steps or whatever. So, like, what's going on? But no, like, so like one thing, like I want to say about work is like, I explain that. So like I seen this post on Facebook, and like Jonah Hill or whatever, one of those famous guys, he said, if you make $15 an hour, remember you don't make $15 an hour. That's not $15 an hour you make. You had to work 10 hours to make your phone bill, or 10 hours to make your car, or 10 hours to make your car payment, or
it's like that cheeseburger at Walmart
right
at McDonald's was $10. Well, if you made $10 an hour, that's an hour of your life.
Right. Well, that's what it was saying. It was like that's 1 hour of your life for that new iPhone or whatever. And it's like that's I don't like looking at it like that way. And for famous guys like that who make $1 million+ off of one movie, to sit there and bag on the guys that didn't have that. The way I look at it is, I was born and raised on a flat. It was my choice not to move out here and try to chase my dreams. But at the same time, my dream that I am chasing isn't going.
Come here.
Yeah.
Come here.
Stop.
Come here. It's okay.
But no, like that dream, your dream isn't. I didn't want to be a movie actor. So Jonah Hill's was. That's cool. Well, I'm glad you made $1 million. But I have a way different dream, and guess what? Mine takes for me to make $15+ an hour, pay for my kid, pay for me, and we still gonna have a bunch of fun. And in 90 years when I die, I'm also gonna remember that I died happy. And I hope when he dies happy too, because he made it to where he wants. We have different dreams. Not everyone, and that's another thing, is everyone's like, oh, make it famous, make it famous. Why does everyone always have to make it famous?
Yeah, why does everybody want that, man? Like, I want to be able to walk outside my house, not get bombarded by paparazzi. I want to be able to go to Walmart, not be able to be recognized by everybody there. Do whatever I want, go eat out somewhere. Those people can't do that.
No, like this thing, they live in these huge cities where traffic jam. I can go anywhere in North Platte in a solid 5 minutes with my foot to the floor if I'm running late and get there on time. Now, if you're in California or whatever, Hollywood Boulevard, you're telling me you're going to make it down the street. No, you got to plan hours ahead of time.
No.
I don't have to. I can be like, a friend can hit me up and say, hey, I'm going to be at your house in 10. We're going out of town. I'm like, okay, sweet. Let's go. Then they can't do that. They can be like, well, hey, next Tuesday, you want to leave about 2 o'clock so that way we can make it to the airport by 6 or whatever.
Right.
That's cool. That's a cool life, but that's not the life I want.
Well, and they can't even have a personal social media pages. They can't.
Right, no.
I like to kind of mouth off on Facebook and say what I want on Twitter sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Those people can't do that.
And they can't, because if they do, they get all those little critics.
Yeah.
They're like, I can't believe you said that. Like people with the president.
Bro, could you imagine reading comments about people who absolutely hate you? And you don't even know why, but there's these people who hate you or want you dead for no reason. I don't know if I can handle that.
See, that's the thing. Is some random dude in a small town of 500 people, never met you, never seen you, but guess what? Because you were in a movie he didn't like.
He's got a whole
He's like,
paragraph.
I didn't like your attitude in that movie.
Yeah, you're a piece of shit, man.
Yeah, that was the character he was portraying. Or people that have to play super villains.
Right.
They're supposed to be hated because they're a super villain. They're not the superhero. And yet people hate them.
They hate him
because they were. It's like, that's not. He didn't do that in real life.
They think it equals their personal life. No, I totally get that. And I was thinking about this the other day. If I was a new actor and I got portrayed like a rapist or something in a movie, that'd be kind of hard for me to want to accept that role, even though it would be the first role.
Well, look at that. The whole thing with that Joker, right? I don't watch Marvel movies. I don't know the difference.
Yeah, I'm not a big superhero Marvel movie fan either. So
I'm more into the cliche Fast and the Furious series stuff, and that's the stuff I like.
Yeah.
But the Joker, they have all those little Joker things, right? Where I heard from my brother before he passed away, talk about so many Jokers had killed themselves or whatever.
Yeah.
Because of the person they had to portray to be, made them go crazy. Yeah.
Just the back. Well, yeah, just because if you're a good actor, you really
You have to get into the character.
You get into that character, man. You really got to live that character for a while. And some
Right,
people,
100%.
they get that character and it just overtakes them. Like Heath Ledger.
Right.
That character just completely took over his life. And sometimes you can't just turn that stuff off.
No, because
It's a big part of your life for so long, it's hard to go back to normal. What's normal after that?
Right. Well, like look at everyone knows this and seen the videos of this, whether you're a car guy or not. But Paul Walker.
Right.
Okay. Well, who is his character? His character is Brian. He made that one video where he loved it, where he said when he would go out in public and people were like, "Hey, Brian," and they would use his show name because that made him feel like they knew him because of his. Not because of all the other movies he played in, but because he was Brian from Fast and the Furious, and that's what most people knew him by. And he goes, I love that feeling more than I actually love being called Paul.
Being me, yeah, he's
Right, yeah. Because like
that's interesting. That'd be weird. That's kind of a mind trip to think that.
Right.
Because he's stepping out and becoming Brian, like becoming a different person.
Yeah, a person that like. That's the thing is he had like 30 plus cars when he passed away.
Yeah. I've seen his collection. That's quite the collection.
Yeah, like one of the Skylines recently went for like 1.5 million.
Dude, he was such a cool guy too. He gave to charity. Like he did all kinds of stuff for kids. I mean, what an awesome person, right?
And people say it's sad that he's gone, but at least he went out in a car. He went out in a Porsche.
Right?
You know what I'm saying?
No kidding. Like,
dude.
And like the good one, too.
Yeah. Like, no, like, if you're going to go out and here you are 7 movies deep, and then you go out because you're in a fast car, it'd have been sad. Like Steve Irwin, how he died.
I was just going to say Steve Irwin.
He went out doing what he loved. Yeah, it was by a little stingray, like 1 of 10 deaths in the world at the time, whatever, by stingrays.
But like, would you really want him to die by a crocodile?
Right. Well, no. Or would you really want him like, he was walking on the street and got hit by a bus?
Yeah.
Like, that would be a sad way for the crocodile hunter guy. At least he was in the ocean, deep sea diving, doing some of the crazy stuff he did, and died that way. Brian, like I said, Paul Walker. It would have been a dumb thing if he walked into a movie theater one day and some
fell
guy
off a cliff or something.
and some guy shot him in the back of the head for no reason.
Right.
That would be dumb, but at least he died in the car, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And there's probably more actors out there or people that have died doing what they love. And I think that's what we all want to do, right?
Exactly.
We all want to die doing what we love. I mean,
I don't want to die in my sleep. I want to know that it's coming. Like, I want to realize that it's about over. My life is about over.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like, I want to experience the whole, death situation.
See,
I just don't want it to be painful. Like, I don't want to I don't want to suffer. Like, I don't want to, burn to death.
They actually say burning's better than drowning.
Well, because you, I guess, inhale and you die of, smoke inhalation.
Well, no, they say after, 11 seconds or something like that, 11, 15 seconds or some crazy stuff that all your nerves that feel the burn die because they burn away. And at least when you're drowning, you're trying to fight for your life for the whole 2, 3, whatever minutes.
Yeah, drowning.
Yeah.
At least when you freeze to death, you get that last second of warmth. Your body feels like you're warm again, and then you just kind of drift off into sleep.
Yeah.
And then it's over with.
You're like, oh no.
But drowning, no.
Goddamn,
no.
That's why you want to
hold your breath before as long as you can. Dude, you start to freak out a little bit. You start to freak out.
Or have you ever done have you ever had someone put you in a headlock and you passed out?
No, I've never passed out.
Don't do that. Yeah, it's horrible. Because when you wake up, I've had it done a few times actually. A buddy of mine, Christian Hatch. Oh boy, we've done some stupid stuff. But one of those times we were just chilling there and we were messing around, and then it turned into one of those weird conversations you always have. And you're like, "Hey man, you should put me in that."
Hey, you should
do this, and we ended up,
pass out,
and
man.
we did it. So, and the thing was, we had 20 people there at his place that he was living at, and I would sleep. And I remember waking up, I don't even know how, the video is a 3-minute video, right? Basically, most of the video was him choking me out, right? And then the other bit of me waking up, I was freaking out because I didn't know I was at. Before this all happened, I knew I was at. But I remember when I came back from it, I did not know who these people were.
Right.
And it really felt like I was being born. I was at the time, 21, 22 years old. Kind of being born again. And I seen all these faces. I start freaking out. I start throwing hands and start kicking. And everyone's like, what the? And then after about 30 seconds, the air comes back.
Because it's you're starving your brain of oxygen from the blood.
Right.
And there's a difference between getting in a headlock and being choked.
Oh, yeah.
When you're being choked, you can't get any air in your system. When you're in a headlock, it's blocking the blood from getting to your brain, so you pass out from the lack of oxygen to your brain via blood. So it's a little bit different because when you wake up from getting passed out in a headlock, do you have like a headache? Some kind of like a little hangover? You would think maybe that'd be because of the lack of oxygen.
You would think, but it's not like that. It's really that moment of when you snap back into it. It's so creepy.
Because I've never been knocked out.
Dude.
I've never passed out. I've never like been so drunk I don't remember the night before. So
Right.
yeah, it's hard for me to understand what you're talking
So
about.
you've never been? Oh man,
No.
blacked out drunk is the worst.
No.
Man. Oh, that's one of the main reasons why I stopped drinking.
Like I can't get to that point.
Like that last night that I drank, man. It was like New Year's 2017. It was New Year's Day. Like I woke up that morning. Well, when I walked out to my car, I remember I got drunk, like really, really drunk, and I parked my car at a 45-degree angle between the curb and the street, right? So I'm at a 45-degree angle parked in this curb, and I walked out. I was like, I drove home. I was like, man, I haven't done that in a long time. Like, I mean, when you're like early 21, 22, you drive home drunk, it's like, oh, I'm very drunk when I'm drunk, and you're really not.
Yeah.
But like I said, here I am. I was like 26, about ready to be 27, and here I was. I just drove home drunk, and I didn't even know it. I don't remember leaving the party. The last thing I remember was my friend Tristan getting drunk and getting left at this party, and I was like, and then that was the last thing I remembered. But I guess there were still about 2 hours after that. I don't remember. I hung out with some people later after that. They're like, oh man, you were drunk. You were playing beer pong. You know, you had your shirt off. I'm like, it was like negative freaking 5 degrees out. It was like 6 inches of snow on the ground. And it was snowing outside, and I had my shirt on. Like, oh, you were wild. I was like, man, I'm dumb.
Dude, I kind of get like that.
I'm surprised. Like, I'm surprised you didn't get pneumonia or whatever. I was like, well,
dude,
no.
I'm a completely different person when I'm like 5-6 beers deep. But I'm like the happiest go lucky person in the world, man. I'll talk to everybody.
Oh, same.
And you know me, like,
oh yeah,
I'm a pretty quiet, introverted guy. Like, I don't really go out and I seek conversation with people. I mean, sometimes I do, but I typically stick to myself.
Right.
Not when I'm drunk. Nope.
Oh, see,
and my laugh gets real chipmunky.
My whole life, yeah, right. My whole life, though, I've never been like a really emotional person. Like, man, I get drunk. Oh, I'll give you. And that's the thing. I'm not a person to go out and give people hugs. Like, people are like, hey, Adam, give me a hug. I'm like, hold up. Like, I wasn't hugged much as a child, and for some reason, I grew up not really liking emotions. I don't know why. I'm just one of those weird cases.
I was
like,
kind of too, man. I didn't like showing my emotions. My
parents, they tried to, whatever. My little brother, I mean, hell, I watched him cry a few times. Like my older brother, same thing. Me, I wasn't into that whole thing. Like when I watch sad movies, I'll look at people afterwards and their eyes are like pouring, and I'm looking at
I've never cried over a movie.
No, and they're like looking at me like, "You're not crying." I'm like, "You have no heart."
No.
I'm like, "No, it's not that I don't have no heart. It's just like, yeah, I get it sad, like, but I also know it's a fictional. It's a fictional thing. It's made up." But like at the same time, like, but when I'm drunk, I'll give you a hug. I'll give you a high five. I'll put my arm around you all night. I'll do whatever. I'll tell you like things about you. You're like, what?
Well, you know what they say: a drunk mind speaks a sober heart, and I really feel like that's true. Like, because your inhibitions get lower, and like your tendencies.
Well, I think you're
be a little more honest.
I think your brain doesn't realize what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what you're doing.
You just don't. That filter is a little
right.
a little wider.
Yeah,
it's
a little thin.
The grates are a little bit bigger. A little more bigger things can kind of fit through the filter.
Right. Yeah. Like, well, at that point too, you're like, well, I'm already drunk. I already know. I might as well just tell this person how I feel about him. And sometimes, like for me, to be in a relationship, that's where a girl needs to get me. She needs to get me in a relationship where I get drunk.
I feel the same way, man.
Cause most girls are like, oh, you're not that sweet, or you're not that nice. I'm like, well, I have a bunch of stuff I want to say to you, but I can't because I feel like a loser. But then I get drunk,
and you feel too cliche, like it's been said so many times. Like, I'm about to tell you the same thing that 1,500 people have told you.
Right.
So what's the point? What is the point?
All the way, yeah. So then, like I said, when I'm like drunk, I'm like, blah blah blah. And they're like, oh my god, you really mean that? And then I wake up the next morning, like, did you really mean that last night? What I say?
What'd I say? Like,
and then they ask me, "Did you really mean that?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Well, to me, like actions definitely speak louder than words, but sometimes you just can't find the words.
Right.
So to me, like I like to do stuff for people. I don't know if you know. I don't even know if you know much about like what the different love languages are. Like my mom's real big into it. Like there's like different things that people portray based on their personality. Like I like to do things for people. Some people like to be touched, some people like words of affirmation, like to be told that they're doing okay. And I mean there's other things too, but
right.
Some people kind of just seem like they pick one subconsciously and don't realize it, and then that's kind of what they do
follow,
for people.
Yeah.
Right. So
It's kind of like when you kind of like church, like people pick a church and they kind of follow that religion.
Right.
That's kind of the same thing. Like if I pick the thing to kind of like not be a hard ass and not show my feelings, but I show it through other things, like maybe by if I take you out to eat a lot or I do something for you a lot, then that's my kind of way of saying, hey, this is my way of caring.
Right. Because you're not gonna like stand outside someone's door or window with the stereo on your shoulder
like every movie. And that's another problem is girls, that's their biggest thing is they see stuff in movies like, I want that. No, you don't. Dude, that's scripted.
Like I used to date this girl and she was real big into Taylor Swift. And so she thought that all her relationships had to like be a Taylor Swift song. So like if it wasn't following exactly like how Taylor Swift's song was, then you know like it was a big issue. It was so annoying.
One of my biggest issues with dating is, well, you're not like this person. You don't do this. That is the biggest thing that I find in a relationship is if me and you go out on a double date with a girl and you pull your chair out for your girl and mine gets mad because I didn't pull out for her. Look, we're two different relationships, okay? Maybe there's a reason why he's doing that. Maybe that's the type of person he is. Maybe that's not the type of person I am. I'm not saying that I shouldn't have pulled the chair out. But I'm just saying maybe I was in a conversation with something else. Maybe I was doing something different that I didn't.
Well, and maybe you want to feel like, maybe you want to make the lady feel like she's a little more empowered. Because not every chick wants to pull their chair out.
I've dated girls, they don't like when I pay for them.
Like, what, you think I can't pull out my own chair? You think I don't got my own money? No, it's just what we're supposed to do.
I know, right? Or like, when like I said, I've been with girls and like they get mad at me for paying. I'm like, look, that's the kind of person I grew up with. My mom bought food for the kids. And then my stepdad would take my mom out to eat. Okay, so he spent a lot of money on her, taking her out to eat on something like at Applebee's or whatever, and she was buying us a $10 DiGiorno, and we were cooking it while they were out on the town. Okay, that's two different profit margins. You know what I'm saying? Like if you go out to eat compared to eating a box pizza from Walmart, you're spending way too different amounts of money. But that's where I grew up. I grew up watching kind of my stepdad always pay for kind of more expensive things. Yeah. And that's kind of like something I still follow. Like I'll pay for the bigger stuff, you pay for the smaller stuff. And it's not that it's not an inferior thing, whatever. It's me saying, hey, that's just my way of saying, hey, save your money and make yourself go do something nice, go do something with your hair, whatever. Save that little bit of extra money you have so you can go do something nice for yourself. Right. So you can feel good about yourself. Because me doing these bigger things for you makes me feel good about myself and you know.
Well, that's not a lot of people don't understand that. People do things that make them feel better about themselves and make themselves feel good. Like when I go and I help someone, I'm doing that not only to help them out, right? Like because they need my help, but it makes me feel good about myself. Like it makes me feel like a good person when I come home and I go to bed. I remember what I did. Like it makes me feel good. Like there's nothing wrong with that. And some people will say like, oh, you're just doing this for, to make yourself feel good.
Or attention,
no kidding. Right? Like for attention. Like, why are you trying to do this to make yourself feel like, can't you just feel good like without doing all this stuff? Like, yeah, sure, but what kind of life is that? Right. You're just like holed up in your house, not helping people, not interacting with anybody? Like,
no. We're all looking for the same thing. We just all do it different ways.
That is a great point. That's a great point. We're all looking for happiness.
Right.
Right. We all want to be happy. We all want to feel good. No one wants to feel shitty. No one wants to be
unless you're Mr. Scrooge, in a book. But
all right, so cool. We're gonna go to our liquor now, which is from Makers Mark, and if you want to refer back to my Brews 101 on whiskey, it'll tell you a little bit more about bourbons.
So let me ask you a question.
What's up, buddy?
How long you been doing this?
Oh man, a month and a half, couple months now. Yeah. How
you liking it?
I really enjoy it, man. I wanted to start doing this because I'm really unsocial and I really kind of keep to myself. And I'm trying to do this to kind of expand my social ability. I'm trying to branch out a little bit. I'm tired of being alone all the time. I'm tired of being in my house constantly. So I'm trying to I don't know, man. I'm trying to be a little more outgoing.
Right. And get new exciting things to go out and do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to give myself and my buddies a good platform to speak about things that are in our minds, because we didn't have this before. So it's I'm tired of making Facebook statuses and Twitter statuses that nobody's
right. Yeah, and like I said, this is the next big. I mean, if you look at Joe Rogan's, man.
And it's so much fun, man. Like,
this is a blast. Yeah.
I love looking up at like audio equipment. Like that's kind of my new hobbies, looking up at audio equipment, and like watching YouTube videos of people
doing all sorts of
doing their stuff, and like signal chains and all this cool like audio engineering stuff is all so new to me. And it's
like
so
all
much
this podcast stuff. Like I watch one I watch Joe Rogan's. His is like the main one I watch. That dude's gotten like Bob Lazaric, the guy that was in Area 51.
Oh, Bob Lazar, that's an awesome episode.
Oh, dude,
I've seen that episode 5 times.
Oh yeah, that's wild. And then that one where he talked about that guy that went to like he got convicted of a murder that he didn't do. He was just in the wrong spot at the wrong time.
Oh man, I know which one you're talking about. I haven't watched it yet.
Right, that one was pretty crazy. I watched the one when he had Steve-O on there and all that stuff.
That's a good one. You know what, dude? Another good one is, you won't think it is, but the Wiz Khalifa one is another good one.
Oh, that's
because he gets into MMA. He gets all jacked.
Well, yeah, Joe Rogan talks about his MMA stuff a lot, and it's just wild.
That's another big reason why I started doing this, because the Duncan Trussell family hour, they go into a lot of like philosophical stuff, and they talk about all kinds of cool like mind-bending stuff, man. Things that just like blow your mind, and I just really enjoy listening to stuff like that. It's kind of stuff on like how to improve your mind and your life, and mindfulness, spiritualities.
One you might want to check out is Brian Barczyk. I don't know who that is. He has a regular vlog channel, and so he started off as a snake breeder, and that's what he kind of followed. His passion was my snake, my 10.5 foot albino Burmese python I have, is actually named after his that passed away.
Oh yeah.
I actually met that snake in a show in Lincoln.
No kidding. Really? That's cool. Right
so
on, man.
This is before like snakes went into like the Burmese retics and blah blah like that went on to what's called the Lacey Act of 1991, or 1990. Anyways, it's pretty crazy. Well, long story short, he started this vlog and called Snake Bites TV. It was wild, it's crazy. Then he went into this vlog, and he built up such his reputation. He was able to open this zoo called the Reptarium. And
that's cool.
The Reptarium is wild. It is a zoo where you can go hold large snakes.
No way.
Yeah, you can go hold an albino alligator or a melanistic alligator.
Man, that's cool.
Pure jet black alligator. You can hold them, and all these different animals that he has there are all what he calls how explains that word? Like if I leave my car out in front of your house or whatever, or your business, it's a what's that called? Like if I'm trying to use my car to like bring people into your business.
I don't.
You know what I'm talking about, though.
I know what you mean.
It's a dumb
word,
I
can't think of the word.
Yeah. Anyways, like he uses all these like animals to bring people in. Like he has a 2-headed snake that you can hold.
Oh, that's cool.
It's called Ben and Jerry.
And it's alive still?
It's still alive.
Those things don't last very long.
Yeah, it's still alive. It's a full grown. It's a couple years old, and it eats. Both heads eat. Like so he's got a 2-headed turtle. He's got a big giant tortoise. He's got crazy iguanas that walk up. He's got a black dragon called Elvis. All these crazy like animals. Like he's got a albino, like one of 3 in the world albino Asian water monitors.
Wow.
And he has all these he has a 20-foot snake he can hold. He has his new albino Burmese, which is like 12-13 foot. Her name is Sunrise, and Sunrise is an albino snake that you can hold and play with and all this stuff. Cool. And you just go into this place and you get to hold all these.
Where's this place at?
It's out in, I want to say Michigan.
Michigan.
Yeah.
Okay.
But cool. My plan is to go out there and see him one day, because you go in, you get to do a little reptarium walkthrough, and he has turtles you can feed. He has he has an anaconda. He has 2, or he actually has 3, but he has his 2 tamest ones are ones you can actually hold. Verde, which means green in Spanish, I think, and it means like, for green anaconda, it's a little baby anaconda. Yeah. And then he has a bigger one named Ivy, and they're big. And she's a big anaconda. She's like 10+ foot, maybe 150+ pounds, has to be. Well, she's a big snake, and you get to hold them.
That's awesome.
It's like, think about, he has all sorts of retics that are like, all the way up to 20 foot. And like he has a snake called Lucy, which of course Lucifer, super aggressive, but he like does live feeding, so you can go there and watch a giant snake eat a 20-pound or 10-pound bunny rabbit.
So it's kind of like a sanctuary for these reptiles.
Oh
then,
yeah,
right?
and they just they're all in like cages like that would make them look like where they're supposed to be in the wild.
That's awesome. See, I hate zoos, man. Like I'm just not a
Right,
zoo
and that's the
person.
thing is he wanted to create a zoo that you could hold animals, not like any place.
So they're not like trapped in their cages all day.
No.
Like that's what I hate about
Yeah,
zoos. They're stuck
animal
in
ambassadors
there
is
all
what
day.
it is.
Okay.
Yeah, is the word he's looking. I was thinking of earlier. An ambassador.
Right
yeah.
on.
So you show up and he takes these animal ambassadors and you gotta hold all of them. And he has so many different. You know those remember that movie Holes with Shia LaBeouf?
Yeah.
Remember those things that were on it? Those
Yeah.
frill
Bearded,
dragons.
bearded dragons.
Well,
I
yeah.
used to have one of those.
Well, they were frill dragons, is what they were.
Oh, were they?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because they
puffed-
frilled out.
they puffed their
You're right,
necks out.
you're right, yeah.
Well, he has one of those that you get to hold.
That's cool.
Yeah, a bunch of crazy animals, like
Right
all
on.
over the world. And the best thing about it is he found out you can train all these animals, like ball training. He takes all these crazy animals and he ball trains them. And he just basically holds like a little red ball or blue ball out in front. And they chase these little balls and do tricks or they do stuff. And they've really broke down like learning how to, like, that a reptile is just like a dog or a cat, basically.
That's interesting.
So it's pretty wild.
Pretty cool. You can train a reptile, huh?
Yeah.
Cool. So Maker's Mark is based in Loretta, Kentucky. It's also made with soft winter wheat instead of the usual rye. And also another interesting thing about Maker's Mark is they hand wax dip every bottle, and they also rotate every bottle by hand. And it's also aged to taste and not by time. 45% alcohol or 90 proof.
I won't drink that. I've drank it before. Like I said, I'm not.
All right.
I'll let you take the sip. I've drank it before. I know. Because
Like I
when I
said-
seen you pull it out earlier, I was like, oh, no way.
A Kentucky bourbon.
It's really smooth.
Episode 2 of Brews 101. If you want to learn more about how whiskey's made and more history, check it out. I'm going to give this a taste. I've never had this before.
It's
also my stepdad's favorite thing to drink.
it'll do a little bit of burn to you, but it's real smooth. It's not rough. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it burns pretty good. But it tastes
It goes down real easy.
tastes good. I can't really explain the taste very much, but
We used to
you do
chase.
feel that burn.
Yeah, we used to chase it with Sprite.
But I definitely like it. It's a little mellower than other whiskeys I've had.
Right.
I can definitely see why my stepdad likes it.
Like I said, if he probably just sips on it with some ice in it and stuff like that. Like I said, when we would drink it, we would, bring.
Use
I'm
Sprite?
not a Sprite guy. I like Dr. Pepper.
I'm a Dr. Pepper guy too.
Yeah. So like, I mean, I chased everything with Dr. Pepper all the way from Jaeger and people.
How
like that
can you
was
say
just-
you're a Dr. Pepper guy when you come to work with Dr. Thunder? That's blasphemy, man.
I'm telling you, there's a difference. When I'm at home, I like to drink my Dr. Pepper, simply for the reason of Dr. Pepper is kind of I enjoy it more when I'm outside of work, and kind of when I'm inside of work, I don't really like to spend too much money when I'm at work.
Well, and you don't really get breaks very often, but like 2.5 hours, and it's just sitting getting warm.
Right? Yeah.
So I definitely feel why you do that. You don't.
And if I waste that, it's only 84 cents for a
Yeah.
2 liter.
For a 2
Compared to a Dr. Pepper was like $2 for a 2 liter. So it's like, but I buy for a whole week of work half the time.
Sacrifice a little taste because
Yeah.
it just does generally
Yeah.
taste similar, but
Right, and then when on the weekends when I'm at home now on nights and I drink an actual Dr. Pepper, it tastes so much better.
what do you think of the Dr. Pepper cream soda?
It wasn't bad. I tried it with Travis from Mason, and it wasn't. He gave me a sip of it. It's not something I could drink necessarily in the wintertime. It'd
Yeah.
be more of a summertime drink.
Yeah.
I think it should be seasonal.
Yeah, I feel you there.
Like,
I thought that they could have done a little bit better because it just kind of seems like they took cream soda and just mixed it with Dr. Pepper.
100%. That was kind of like their cherry Dr. Pepper, though. Everybody was in love with it. And I really thought they just took cherry Pepsi, took away the Pepsi, put Dr. Pepper, and called it a day.
Called it good.
Because if you make cherry Pepsi at like places like where they have their like those machines at like Time Saver or stuff like that,
Yeah.
where you can make sure like you fill it up with Dr. Pepper,
Yeah.
and you actually put your own cherry additive in it.
Yeah,
It tastes so much
it
better.
does because you can like I always way overdo it.
Oh, so do I. And then like you get so much cherry, then you get Dr. Pepper. It's like, oh, that's better. Then where from a factory, it's monitored how much Dr. Pepper and how
Yeah.
much cherry.
I almost would rather put vanilla in my Dr. Pepper than the cream soda.
I'm not a vanilla guy, so that's my problem. I don't like
You're not a vanilla guy, no. I feel like vanilla is one of those flavors where it'll completely change depending on how much you put in.
Oh, yeah.
Like you put in a little bit, it almost tastes caramely, right? You put in a whole bunch, like it is absolutely disgusting.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
All day, yeah.
So, all right. So I think that's gonna do it for this episode. Thanks for hanging out with us, Adam. Thanks for stopping by. Where can we find you on social media?
Facebook, and that's about it.
What was your brother's gym called again?
6'9" and 1-on-1 MMA and fitness.
Right on. You can find them on.
That's on Facebook. And yeah. And I know if you look up Ryan McDonald on Instagram, he is verified. So
That's awesome.
Oh,
He got a
yeah.
blue check?
Yes, he does.
That's awesome. You can see him on YouTube too. He's got a pretty cool highlight video.
Oh yeah, he's got, and like I said, when he made it to the UFC and fought in Nashville, Tennessee, and someplace up in Canada.
That's cool, man. I cannot wait to have him on the show. Hopefully, maybe we can get both of you in here.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'll talk to him and we'll see what we can do.
Right on, man. Well, thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.